Hey everyone, it's Teresa, and today I'm sitting down with the incredible Charlie Welch, founder of Melody of Hope. We're diving into her journey of building a nonprofit from the ground up, using music as a tool for healing, faith, and purpose. If you've ever wondered if your passion could change the world, this conversation is for you. Let's jump in. So take me back to the moment you realized music could be more than a passion, that it could be your purpose.
So I think I grew up listening to music. My uncle was in a band. My mom, every morning, would put on a new record. I would wake up for school, and music was always just a really big passion of mine. I ended up going to North Texas for my undergrad, which was in radio, TV, film, and a music minor. And then I graduated from grad school with a music business degree and really started to kind of see how God was leading me into the music industry. So I ended up working for a hip hop record label for 2 years in Dallas. And I just saw there's so much money in music. I saw how that money, though, was being used for things that were just not glorifying to God. A lot of cars and girls and, drugs and just a dark industry. And I felt like God was trying to lead me out of that. So I prayed, ended up moving to Africa for a year. And so God had gotten me out of the record industry, music industry, and moved me overseas, and just really starting to see how I could use music to help others. I had these degrees, I had experience in the music industry, but the majority of the world lives on less than $1 a day. So when I was there, I'm okay, this is where God is leading me to turn this passion into a purpose. So how can I use music as a way to glorify God and help people? And truly, my time spent in Africa was pivotal because we were supposed to be inside for at 5 o'clock every day. So we weren't allowed to be out at night. And so I had, 4 or 5 hours every night to really work on this business idea and just really create this idea of, using music as a way to help people. And so I spent a year in Africa, and when I got back to the States, called about 40 of my friends, and we had no idea what we were doing. And to millennials that we were single, we didn't have kids. It truly is a family. We figured out, all the things not to do, and, just a lot of Google and just a lot of asking people for help, and truly is a team and a family, and just turning that purpose into passion to purpose through music.
I love that. Did you ever feel like you weren't qualified to start this?
Yes. Can I say daily?
What did you actually do with that fear?
Man, it's crazy. I still feel like I have kind of imposter syndrome. It's insane to me that Melody of Hope has grown this much because none of us knew nonprofit world. So when you have a bunch of millennials that have no idea, you're just navigating the world, trying to start this nonprofit. It's it has to be God because there's no way it could work. And so, I'm a very big proponent of surrounding yourself with smarter people than you. I want to have that humility to be able to sit in a room of people and pull from, I'm like a sponge in a room. That has been really how Melody of Hope has been thriving. I think is just I'm in this position where I've got all these incredible people around me. We've got, if we need something, we have a CPA, we have a lawyer, we have an artist. There's a huge network of people that I'm able to rely on, and that's why it truly is a family.
How do you think though, fear, you said every day, how do you overcome, that self-doubt?
Sure. Yeah. So I think obviously trusting God, everyone will say, you have to trust in God. And you really do. But you can, I can look back at my life, especially in the 11 years of Melody of Hope, and see all the fear, that I've had in a moment. God has done an incredible work over the last 11 years. So the amount of trust I have in God far outweighs the fear because of what God has done in my life and obviously through Melody of Hope. And it's easy to kind of just put that fear aside. I'm God has always blessed it, and there's no way it works without him. And I think that is the trust in God's character. If God is calling you to something, there is no way it can fail. And that's honestly the mindset. I'm Lord, okay, we never did a gala. We never did a music fest. We've never done artist auditions. It's just this whole new, we've never done all this. And so, God's going to provide, and it's going to be hard. And I can tell you a lot of things that have not been a good idea. And, so I think it's just you're learning as you go. You have to take leaps of faith. And as a business owner and as now an employer, you're just taking leaps of faith every day, and you have to have the right people and be grounded in scripture and really the truth of what God says.
What do you think is the hardest part of turning this idea into something real?
So I think maybe monetizing it. I think I was grateful when I lived in Africa. I had to raise up a supporter group. And so it's people that give monthly and, one-time donations. And so I think that has probably been the hardest, is still being able to monetize it as we kind of pivot. And, everything we do is for other nonprofits. Like we're raising money, we're applying for grants and donors and fundraising. So not only are we having to pay our employees and our artists, but the purpose is to help other nonprofits and be able to share the gospel through our artists and at those events. And so that's, monetizing it. I'm always having to kind of think outside the box. And, I talk so much about relationships. I mean, having the right relationships in your life, that will help you. Like people are introducing me to people and I'm, it's all about this collaborative relationship and this family aspect. But that's how we've been able to kind of monetize it is people know people and they want to give and hear the story. And it's been really cool.
So who was the first person to believe in you when you weren't sure that you could believe in yourself?
My mom, like a lot of people would say their mom, but my mom she was a single mom. My dad passed away when I was little and we grew up in government housing. Like we lived with my grandpa. Like we were very poor growing up. And my mom just she was always proud of me. She was always like, you can do hard things. And to see her be a single mom, no idea that my mom had a hard time paying rent and had a hard time like buying Oreos at the store. And just like, she truly believed in who I was. Like she loved me. It was this like unconditional love.
What was the early days of Melody of Hope?
I would say it's a lot like the current days. When you have a passion, like, it doesn't feel like work. It just felt like I was hanging out with my friends and listening to music. But it's a grind. You're always pivoting as a business owner. Your phone is always on. You're never off. And I think like I have not really learned that lesson to be able to turn it off, but when it truly is your passion, it doesn't feel like work. And so I really just feel like I'm hanging out with my friends and listening to music. And so the early days kind of feel the same, trying to do the next right thing, the next best thing for Melody of Hope and try to like obviously have the big vision, but it's a daily decisions that you make every day affect the big vision. And so just trying to glorify the Lord and, help others, I think it looks the same, a lot of the same.
I guess just on a larger scale.
Yes. Now it's like, now it's corporate stuff. And, it used to just be, I'm meeting with donors for $10 a month and, very grateful for anything anyone can give. But the level of ask is very bold now. It's like I go into a room and it's like, okay, we need 25 grand. And it's like, I think God has really helped me in just being able to be bold because like I said, it's when God puts something on the plate, like there's no way it's going to fail. And so I think God has taught me a lot about, it's kingdom work and it's God's money anyways. And so if you're going to ask, you might as well ask for the big bucks. And like I said, we've been very blessed with we've quadrupled in, oh my gosh, like in the last 3 years because of like the corporate world and just, God giving me the courage to ask for big things. Yeah. And just putting the right people on the team that also ask for big things.
What obstacles did you hit that made you question everything?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we used to have these massive Christmas galas and they were the biggest fundraiser of the year. Like we had, I think the last one we did was in 2019 and there was maybe 400 people there. It was huge. And I never cursed Melody of Hope like I did during gala season. It was just like, it was so much work. It took a toll on my family and like, my daughter and like all my friends. It was just like I had tunnel vision. But every gala season, I would lose like 10 pounds. I would like be the worst version of myself because I was so stressed. And we also didn't make that much money. So I think it was like God really showed me, okay, you can still do this kingdom vision and you don't have to have this massive gala that's like pomp and circumstance and all these like, bells and whistles. But for me to submit that was very hard because like this was like our signature event. And maybe I put my worth in that. It's like, oh, it has to be bigger and better every year. But then COVID hit. And so I think I was already considering just not doing the gala, but I think COVID hit. And so obviously we had to pivot. And I'm like, okay, Lord, this is the time where I can like just have a chill year. We're not doing the gala. And then our board was like, hey, we should do like a drive-in music festival for COVID. So it was like another massive event. I'm like, okay, Lord, like that's a great idea. So it was a horrible decision, but God redeemed it. And now we don't do big events like that. And I think that was maybe the pivotal moment of like, instead of spending 6 months out of the year, putting all of my time, energy, resources on this one event, like we're also able to help way more nonprofits now because we're not putting all of our energy into one massive event. I mean, if anything, I would say that's the biggest game changer was stopping these massive events and just focusing on, there's better ways to fundraise and make money. And we don't need a big gala to like showcase what we're doing. Yeah. So that was hard for me though. Cause like I said, my identity was like, everyone knows us for the galas. It's like just surrendering that was hard, but God definitely has redeemed it.
How did you keep going when, like nothing felt certain? Cause there's always, in any business, there's a question, right? Did you ever have those moments, or a moment, I should say?
I'm not going to lie, like probably the stress of being like the sole provider of your employees and your artists and the nonprofits, like that's a level of stress that I think any business owner would say that's probably the biggest level of stress. Every time I think that we're not going to get this grant, or, we're going to have a problem in the bank account, like I'm nervous, like it is next level how God just like provides. Like I'll get a call like after freaking out, or like I need to go on a walk, or like there's so much stress, and I'll be doubting God's provision. And like within a day or two, it's like, oh my gosh, we have the same amount of money that we need. God is like, okay, here's this plus like $100,000 more. Nothing like $100,000, but like it's, you doubt so much, but God is like never fails. And I do joke a lot how, it has to be God, because like we're just a bunch of morons that like just that don't know. I mean, no one knew how to start a nonprofit. Like our artists, like, I mean, you have to get the right board. You have to get the right group around you that knows more than you. And so it's just funny. And this imposter syndrome is something that I really have to take to God, because like so many other people could be in my job, like could have my job, but like that's not what God wants. Like God still wants me to run it, and God has like blessed me.
It's actually funny. I was coming back from Boston, and this guy was having a midlife crisis in his 40s, and he was saying he felt like he had imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know how I'm qualified to do what I do.
Yeah.
It's funny just hearing that word. It was the second time this week. I think that there's a lot of people that feel that way.
Oh my gosh, like
I really do.
It's insane. Maybe I've always had this, like, I think maybe that's my biggest insecurity, is I feel like there's so many people that would do this way better than me. But you just have to surrender that, because like God doesn't make mistakes. God made you to be who you are. And yeah, he literally picked me. And there is all the ways that God has just provided to get us to this point. Like by the grace of God, we have always been in the black since we started. I mean, it's just insane. Like there's no way that God has not been in it. And this imposter syndrome, you just have to take it to the Lord, and like God made you this way, and God doesn't make mistakes. And so you have to, there's a level of confidence that brings when you walk into a room. And, we're not a religious nonprofit, but we do have a faith-based value system. And so to go into these rooms that, the city of Frisco, the city of McKinney, like they want to give us funds for the arts, but like we're sharing the gospel either directly or indirectly. And so that's also how I know like it has to be God again, because we're sharing the gospel through music. And it's like a dark
that
industry.
Could be a sign.
I mean, it's insane. Like the music industry itself is, I mean, most industries are dark, but like it has to make sense that way.
What role did faith play in your journey early on?
Oh my gosh. I mean, everything. Like God, I grew up in church, I grew up going to all the camps and Awanas, and just truly knew Jesus as my Lord and Savior at a young age. And that's because my mom, she's like, you need to get your butt in church. Didn't matter what we're doing, like Saturday night, Sunday, we're in church, and just instilling that in me. But I truly feel like I didn't really make my faith my own, meaning I started viewing God's rules as like, not really rules, but like a life book. Like when I started doing all the things God had told me to do in the Word, things started making sense, And probably when I was a sophomore in college, I wouldn't say I was a wild kid by any means, but like, you're in college, like come from a small town, you're in a big school now. It's like the things that I was seeking, they weren't giving me life. Like they were just all temporary, which still to this day, like everything is temporary except for your faith. That has to be the foundational truth that everything you do flows from. And God in his grace, like will redeem our mistakes. I mean, all the things I do on a daily basis, like the Lord is like, that's not good. Like it's a constant sanctification process where God is like growing you. And, I think that faith truly is everything in life is changing. Every single day it's changing. Your job, your career, your kids, like everything is changing, but that is the one thing that never changes. So having that foundational truth is what the basis, all the decisions I make flow from that. You just have to keep going back to the Word and surrounding yourself with community. I mean, that's huge.
What would you say, because I know music to me is a bridge between music and pain.
Oof.
Why do you think music reaches people in a way nothing else can?
Yeah. So I truly believe music is the great unifier. It is the universal language. Religion is not, socioeconomic status is not, race is not. If you're at a concert, you have every single person from all different backgrounds, like enjoying this one artist that you would never find that group in any other setting but that. I think music is outside of just the feeling of like hearing, you're literally, it's like it speaks to your heart and your soul. That's the closest that I feel to the Lord, is like at a concert, like just listening to music. It's just the universal unifier. And people really seek that out. And everyone likes certain artists, and it just brings people together.
I'm a music girl. Music to me is soul food. No matter what walk of life you are in, different music touches you at different points. It's very therapeutic.
Yes. There's just something about a song that will take you back, like the memories associated. I mean, it's like I have a list of probably like 700 of my favorite songs. And like I literally put this list together because I know every time I put that playlist on, I'm always going to be happy. I'm always going to have these like, it's just, it lifts your spirits. Yeah. And then you put me at a worship concert, like at Red Rocks in Colorado. It is next level spiritual. Like it just speaks to your soul.
Yeah. My bucket list.
That's where I experience him the most.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, might as well be doing this for my job, going to concerts, listening to music. Like it's my favorite thing.
I can say every walk of life, music is what has helped get me through that pain.
Preach.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it's powerful on the other side of it too, how going through pain, how I've had moments where I had to control what I was listening to.
Yes. Yes.
Which is also interesting because music always, for the most part, brought pleasure.
Absolutely.
But when you're in the pain, I remember going through moments where I'm like, I have to actually set a playlist so that I don't hear something that brings me back to something I don't want to remember because it's so powerful.
Absolutely. Like there was a time in life where, and I think a lot of people that would watch this are probably my friends that would know this, but there was a time where I was like maybe a little suicidal in my depression, and I could not listen to songs. Like like you're saying, I had to create a brand new playlist, and it had to be songs about Jesus and like happy songs. Like, but there is no other way outside of the Lord that pulled me out of that depression than listening to those songs coupled with my community of friends. I probably spent 10 grand that summer, like going to concerts. I was like, I have to be in these spaces where it's the Holy Spirit is there. Like that is my most authentic self, is me at a concert, the freedom, like I'm up and dance. I mean, I'm the crazy blonde that's like in the lawn, like dancing. I mean, it's like music, the concert experience is really where the Holy Spirit speaks to me.
I could go to a concert every weekend.
Yeah, same. We should go. Now we're like besties. We can do that. I'm so busy. Like I think we're both extroverts. Like it's to recharge though, I need like an hour or two a day by myself, just like listening to music. Most of the time it's at night. Like I used to have a record player in a record room, and I would just go sit with my headphones in for like an hour a night, and that would like really recharge me. The first thing I hear in a song is the melody. A lot of people would say lyrics, but what attracts me to a song is the melody first. And then it's like, then I listen to the lyrics, and then it's like the whole experience. But yeah, I have to have a couple hours a day where I'm recharging just through music. There's so many good artists out there that are not discovered yet too. So that's also what Melody Folk is trying to do, is develop new artists and get them to a place where they're performance ready. And we can talk about all that later. But
it's just giving them opportunity, right? That's a space that, is super competitive.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I went to Nashville and so many good artists. Everyone's trying to get an opportunity, and they're all so talented.
So good. And it's like, why does that person have the opportunity that this person doesn't? Like the music industry is,
it's a tough industry.
It's so hard. And like, if you're not in a city that really values the arts and culture, and that's what we're trying to do here in Frisco. When we started Melody of Hope, Frisco is known for tech and sports and, growth development. And so we've really had to like build this arts and culture movement. And it's been a journey for sure. When we first started Melody of Hope, we were asking the city for money. And there was a time where the city wanted to like cut all arts funding. And it's like, oh my gosh, if you don't have arts and culture in your city, like your city is going to die. Like if there's no creative outlets for people, it's just money and sports. So we have really been on this journey to build that here. And, one of our mottos is we don't like to complain, we want to contribute. And so it's like, man, I just stopped complaining about there not being an art space here. And it's like, we just went all in. And the amount of people and artists that we've been able to like, experience and hear and add to our team. There's so many artists here that need that opportunity.
I always wished if God gave me one gift, it would have been singing.
I'm a horrible singer.
Could you not have given me the talent of singing?
Well, you can't have all the good qualities.
Like, I needed singing though. You know why? Because I wanted, to your point about music, it's like, the performer is making this room full of people in so many different walks of life feel good. When you're at a concert, it's such positive energy, and it's happy and smiling and people dancing. Yeah. To me, it's like getting on stage, making everybody happy. Yeah. What a gift.
God did not give me that gift either.
That's what I say. So that's the one gift. I took singing lessons
to prove it
during COVID. It was awful. My instructor, his name was Ben. I was like, hey, Ben, I want to learn how to sing. I was like, but you can be honest. I don't need to be carrying on. And should we switch to the piano?
Stop. So funny. Yes.
And he was like, no, everybody can learn to sing, And I was like, okay. And
wait, that's not, he said that?
He did. He didn't say maybe to what level.
Okay, good point. Okay, because I'm like, I sound good in the shower and like in my car
He's
yelling.
Yeah. Well, maybe that was the hope he was giving me.
Yes. But like, since I couldn't sing, it's like, how can I still like be around? So it's like, I can't sing, so I pay people that are way better than me to do it.
Yeah, totally. I did try though.
Well, maybe we might be looking for new artists. So if you ever want to try again, then
yeah. I just need to practice a little more. He said I was actually kind of good.
Well, we truly do have artist auditions. And so if you're ever interested, I mean, I could set that up.
You might lose Melody of Hope. Okay, so can you share a story where you saw music completely shift the energy of an event or transform, a person?
Yeah. Yeah. So probably the most impactful was during COVID. It was everyone lived through COVID. Like if you lived through COVID, you've got stories where your business pivoted. And like I think we really created a new level of Melody of Hope from that because people were not able to get out and experience the arts and get out in community. And like, if you don't have community, like you're going to die alone. Like, it's like you have to have these instances of, familial and community and like these special things that you can go to that get you out of the house. And because of the way that we were set up, like our artists, we started this, it was an online like music show. So every Friday we would have our artists go online and sing, and we would have thousands of viewers because people were really wanting that, but they couldn't get out. And so I saw so much transformation, just like the text that our artists would send us, like, hey, thank you for letting us have this outlet. We have been dying, not playing. Like we have not been able to fully experience this during COVID. And that was really cool for us to see. And I truly believe because of that pivot, and then we did this, I had mentioned the COVID Music Festival. One of our board members owned Verona Villa. And we had no idea what we were doing. We just were like, hey, we've got this idea. We've got to use music as a way to get out. People want to get out, experience it during COVID. And so we had the Drive-In Music Festival. And it was just an incredible experience to see. Like, people were in like their little pods, and we had like shifted these pods, and everyone had like 2 car spaces around them. And it was like these families that were getting together, singing, but experiencing a concert. Very stressful to do that. But, once again, God is going to see it through.
Yeah.
And there's going to be blood, sweat, and tears because there's no way that anything would be successful, I believe, if it wasn't a level of blood, sweat, and tears and things.
Yeah.
You just have to power through and, have the right community around you. And we crushed it. It was the funnest, probably most impactful way that we helped was during COVID in our music.
I love that.
We want to do a music fest. I think that's like a big goal of ours. Maybe a 5-year goal is to do a music festival. The joy that music brings, you're designed to be in community. Like, you cannot do life on your own. The reason Melody of Hope is successful outside of the Lord is the people on our board, our artists. It's a family, and there's so much community, and that's how you learn. That's how you grow. You have to have people in your life that will also help you.
What's one story that still makes you cry when you think about the impact?
Oof. Yeah. So there's a few stories in Melody of Hope, but so one of our artists, she was a single mom. She was a starving artist. Like, that's also an issue that we're trying to address, is these artists, they're so talented. Like, that should not be a thing. The starving artist component is not what we're trying to pay artists more and trying to give them more opportunities. But it was during COVID, and she needed Christmas presents for her kids. It was just crazy to see the community that we had built. This was probably year 8. And we just reached out to everyone on our team, donors, like, hey, this is an artist that we don't just care about what the artist brings to us, like performance wise, like we care about the whole health of the artist, like her spiritual health, mental, like I said, we're family. That really solidified this family component. And I think that was just so impactful for her to see, and obviously for us to be able to help her kids. And that was probably the coolest story. And then now we've made it a habit. Like, every Christmas we'll pick an artist that, needs help, and it's just by word of mouth. Like, we'll get some, and now it's like this Christmas thing that we do, and we don't really publicize it because we don't want people to know the artist is struggling like that. But it's just a really cool new component that we do. And it's been very impactful for us to do that and be able to help that way.
I love that. What surprises you the most when you look at Melody of Hope as it became today? Because it's 11 years.
I mean, just the level of community support, it is so humbling, Teresa. Like, to have from a city level, at our 11th year anniversary, humbly we'll have the mayor, the city council, all the nonprofits that we've helped, churches involved, artists, board members. And it's like this, to have the support of the community has been really next level for us to see. And we truly believe that we don't do anything just for ourselves. The party is actually the only thing that I'm like, okay, this can be for ourselves. It's a celebration, but everything we do is collaborative in nature. We want to build up the artist community, churches, and creating this environment to where everyone can thrive. It's a collaborative event and a collaborative nonprofit. And to look back and see the massive corporations and the sports teams now, like we've done stuff with the Cowboys and Rough Riders and PGA, and like this is where the imposter syndrome comes. I'm like, Lord, I am not equipped to speak to the CEO of like these massive, but God has to be in it. And that is truly, it's just insane to step back. I'm like, this is nuts. How is this happening? And how am I in charge of this? It's just funny to like look back and see like what we've came from and then see the growth. And truly, it's just a grind. It's a hustle for sure, but it's so cool to see.
What's something people don't understand about the work you do behind the scenes?
I mean, I'm pretty like open and honest about all the things, but as the business owner, like you have to wear multiple hats. And I think maybe people would see like me just as the face of Melody of Hope, which I do not like. Can we have more faces? Because like we have amazing, beautiful women. I'm like, there needs to be more faces in this. But the fact that I do wear multiple hats at our galas, like we'd be cleaning plates behind the scenes, like with aprons, like I'm speaking the next day. Like it's the multiple hats I think that I wear.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm pretty authentic and open about who I am. I think people would be like, yeah, that's true. Charlie does all the things all over the place. She's the cracked out squirrel, like running around at things. I think it's just like a common, people do know that. Like but I think being a leader is something that I've had to really seek God to embrace, because like I said, this is like where Satan tries to get me. Like, you're not equipped for this. You don't have a degree in nonprofit world. You're not a singer, like all these things that I'm not. But God is like, well, look at all the things you are, and to really lean into those. And that's something I'm learning. And, I've been to a few leadership conferences with our team, and my pastor is like, you're not going to be good at everything. And that's okay. Like, just lean into the things that you are good at and delegate the rest. And, there's a level of humility that you have to pour out, because like, I want to be good at everything. I want to know like every intricate detail of what's going on within Melody of Hope. But as you grow, like, it's just not possible to know that. And so once again, like just putting your trust in God and putting your trust in the people can be like, okay, y'all have it. I just show up to things sometimes. I don't know anything. And it's been so good. I'm like, this is where I wanted to be, like just showing up to things and just trusting my team. And, we've got an incredible team and people, and it's humbling. I know that I use that word a lot, but it truly is.
My whole background is leadership. You are leading.
Yeah. But like, it's just,
there's no but. You're already a leader.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that from somebody who's been in leadership 25 years.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm reading this book. It's called Extreme Ownership or Extreme Leadership or something. For me, like taking full responsibility as a leader is something that's a huge quality that a lot of these leaders have. It's like, if something goes wrong on your team, it comes to you. Like everything trickles under. And so like, I just want to be a leader that is aware of what my team is going through. Not just, okay, are you getting your stuff done on, in a timely manner? It's like, if you're not, what's going on with you? Like the emotional, mental health of your team. And I think maybe my mom's generation, my dad, like it was a different kind of leadership. It's like, what are you bringing, like financially? Like, are you bringing this money in? Like, is it just about the money? And that is not how you lead people.
I think now we're building cultures. People always think, oh, they're leaving because of finance, like not getting paid enough. It's actually the sense of value
absolutely
in a company, in an organization. So they just want to feel that, they work for a leader that makes them feel like what they can offer to a company has value.
To care for your team is everything. And I think that the way that you lead is also a product of who you're surrounding yourself with. I mean, our board is like incredible men and women that are the leaders in the community. They're getting their feet dirty, their hands, like they're in the weeds, but also they're leading their own organization. You learn, and you're a product of who you surround yourself with. If you want to be a better leader, surround yourself with better leaders. Like just talking to you, like hearing all the things that you've done in your career, I'm like, there's always something new that you're doing, and you're challenging yourself.
Always.
And you're an impressive woman. I feel like just knowing you, I've learned so much. You really know what you're doing.
The beauty of life is like constantly challenging ourselves.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right. To learn something. My whole career, I say this all the time to pretty much anybody when they're building something, is find mentors.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Find the people that you want to become, and reach out. I think we're scared sometimes to ask for, because they're super successful, they're not going to want to help me. Did you ask?
Right. Ask the right questions to the right people.
Since I was in my early 20s, building a company was a mentor.
Sure.
Somebody had led me my 20s, my 30s, my 40s.
Yeah, I think I have not even talked about my mentors. Like there's two women that really shaped my college career when I started to like fully want to walk with Jesus and not just say when you fully surrender your whole life to Jesus, I feel like that's when you're ready to like walk with him. And that mentor I had in college, her name was Jessica Vaughn, showed me what it's like to live in the world, but still like show Jesus and not do what the world does, but still be in the world, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And so like she helped me so much, and like she's still a great friend. Another mentor I have is Tammy Minershagen. When I started Melody of Hope, she's also now a council member, and we're trying to get this Performing Arts Center passed. But to have people that will just take you by the hand, and it's just incredible. These people, they want to help. You're a leader, like you want to help the next generation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, who is the next generation of leaders that I can come alongside of and just, at least I can tell you all the things not to do. Like, this is what you should not do to start a nonprofit. I mean, but you want to help because you've been helped so much. It's like, of course, there's an outpouring of how much help you've received. So you want to help others.
That's why I give back.
Yes.
I feel like I would not be where I am if it wasn't for all my mentors around me.
Yes. And then it's like the amount of times my friends have just listened. I mean, like I said, you're a product of who you surround yourself by. Like you show me your friends, that's who you are. Like your top like five.
You are your five. So if you could go back and tell the old version of yourself something before you started, what would you say?
Don't sweat the small stuff. I mean, the galas, I will go back to that. Like the small details where you're putting so much effort and energy into these small details that really don't matter. Like it's hard though. Like you want to do everything right. You want to do everything to the best of your ability, but you're also only one person. And to give yourself grace, like I'm so hard on myself. I can do 1,000 things right. And the one thing I'm like, oh, that was wrong. I will ruminate. And it is literally a constant battle. Like, okay, what does God say about who I am?
So if someone feels called to do something on their own, because I think of nonprofits, and there's a lot of people that I know that have wanted to start nonprofits. What would you say would be a brave first step for someone who wants to start a nonprofit?
Yeah, I would say like if the passion is on your heart, like, and you can't shake it, that's kind of what, like, when I grew up around music, it was like everything I did was music was so central to all of those things. Every different chapter of my life, it was always music. Like you kind of know if God's putting that on your heart. And especially starting a nonprofit, we get asked is how do you make money? And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to make money as a nonprofit, but it's just like any other business. Like you're operating like a business. You still can get paid. The board just tells you how much you can get paid. But if you have the right people around you, that is also a good, like you should have the right people around you, but also people that will tell you no. That's the biggest area of advice I would say is you should not have people that are always yes people. Our board, they'll push back. It's like you have to be able to take that criticism too with a grain of salt. And so I think if anyone wants to start a nonprofit, like it's an easy process now. When I started 10 years ago, 11 years ago, it was like an 80-page application. Now it's like a postcard. So I'm saying God and the government has made it easier to start nonprofits. Yeah. And I was blessed that, it didn't have to be my full-time job when I first started Melody of Hope, but now it is. If you have the right people around you, then they will help you make it happen too.
How can we all use our gifts? I do think even me in this platform.
Absolutely. Yes.
I think God was like, you need to do this.
Absolutely,
like be the voices for the voices is what I would say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Very true. Like, man, like I think that God gives everyone their gifts, abilities, resources. And I truly believe that's to help others. And I think you're doing a great example. Like you're using the stories that you get out of people and like you tell people like this is the way that people can show how their pain has led to purpose and help others. And I truly believe that all the horrible times in my life that I've really had to surrender to God, being able to turn that pain into a purpose is that allows that pain to feel like it's full circle. Now you're using the pain to help others. I'm very vocal. I used to have an eating disorder in high school and college. And I'm like, Lord, I look back and I'm thinking, God, the reason that you allowed me to go through this was because in college, that was my ministry. It's like there's so many girls around me that are going through this. And then you're able to kind of close that circle. It's like, this is why God has allowed that to happen. I think everyone has a story. And if you can be vulnerable enough with that story, then you have no idea how many people that you can help that maybe think that they're alone in their story.
I think when you're in pain, you do feel alone. And Absolutely. I think then it's finding a story or a group of people that you can talk to from a community standpoint or that can relate to what you're experiencing during that season of life. Because you talked about all your friends happen to be from years ago, where mine, because I traveled a lot in my career, I didn't really have, and I'm not from here. I moved here 10 years ago, but my community wasn't my long childhood friends or college friends. And I don't even talk to my family. So my community was all of my friendships that I cultivated really during a divorce, but they were relatable, similar pain. It was almost like, I would say, someone was taking some of the pain you had and walking it together with you.
Oof, yeah.
If that makes sense. Because I almost felt like they were carrying it with me.
Oh my gosh. Like my friends have been, I'm going to cry. Like the amount of friends I had at any given moment that would answer the phone call when I was in the darkest hours of my life, like it is insane. Once again, God has provided this group. And that's why I talk about community all the time. The friend groups that you have, like you're saying 10 years, like you have this common thing that you're struggling with. It's like they know how it feels to be where you are. And so it makes sense, like anyone would want to help someone that has been there, and if you are able to be vulnerable enough with your friends to like talk about it, I truly think that's where so much of the healing comes from is, are you able to be vulnerable and just lay it out on the table? My 30-year friendships, we have gone through every single, you name it, 3 decades. They know everything about you and they love you.
Usually when we're with girlfriends, like we are so real.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Yes.
It's like every crazy comes out, every tear. We're not holding back. They can see our messy. They can see all of our broken. And we know that they stay.
Oh, yeah. It's just humbling again. Everyone has stuff that they are struggling with, like this podcast, like people being able to speak their stories is healing. It's healing too.
Well, everybody has a story.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's why I named it that. Cause it was like, everybody has multiple chapters.
Absolutely. Yes.
And one story. Why not share it?
Like just embrace your flaws. I've definitely been there where I'm like, oh, I can't do, like, I don't want them to know, but it's just like God, it's so freeing to just tell people, lay it all out and be like, this is who I am. The highest vibration is authenticity. You have to be okay with people knowing your story.
Your thing is called Melody of Hope.
It's crazy. Yeah.
But it really, they need that sense of hope that they can see life ahead of them and actually just have that feeling.
Hope is, if you don't have hope, like, you have to have some level of hope to like be able to go through life and be like, okay, life is hard, but where does your hope lie? Like your hope is in Jesus. Your hope is in your family. There's levels there's other places you can find hope when life knocks you down, and to be able to just talk about it freely and create spaces for people to do that. That's very encouraging for me to sit here and see you doing that.
I just love your name now that I'm even thinking about it. I want to end with 2 questions.
Yeah.
What is the mission for Melody of Hope? Because there's meaning behind Melody of Hope, of how you want to impact community and people.
Sure. I think for anyone, you can always do something. God has given you gifts and abilities. There's always a need in your backyard. And I think with Melody of Hope, we saw the need, which is we want to share the gospel. Music is a dark area, like the industry. And so how can we help people with that? That's truly what we're trying to do. We're trying to help other nonprofits subset the cost of them paying for artists, and we want to help them by us paying the artist. And so, everyone can help someone. Like, just start where you are is the most impactful, because you don't have to have this beautiful studio. Like, you don't have to have this musical database of artists. As an individual, you have someone to talk to. You have something that God has put on your heart, and all it takes is to step out in faith and start talking about it. And, that's the mission. Like, that's the purpose in life, is to help others. I truly believe we look at, obviously Christ is the biggest mentor that I have, but that's what he set out to do, is to help people from a salvation level. So like clearly God has put that in our hearts. Like we all want to help others. And I think it's just trying to find the right outlet, what speaks to your soul the most. And for me, that's music and family and concerts and friends. And for you, it's talking to people, it's leadership, it's friends, it's community. Like you just have to find the outlets that you're able to help people the most with.
And so my last one, I have one more, which I wasn't going to ask.
Okay. Love it. Bring it on.
Melody of Hope's amazing. You've had multiple chapters outside of Melody of Hope, just as Charlie. If I went back to that same question, kind of the younger years, what would you say to Charlie if you were giving her wisdom at your age now of what you've learned from all chapters of your life?
Truly, I think the biggest thing I have learned is view myself as God does. And I know like people say like, God loves you, but to truly know that, for me to know and really put in my heart and mind, like God doesn't make mistakes. Like I make mistakes, sure, but God knew who you were, who he was going to form you to be before you were even in your mom's belly. To know like the creator of the universe loves you that much, man, like that would have changed just how much I love myself. Maybe I didn't love myself and didn't maybe have a sense of purpose or like, there was fear there. But man, I'm telling you, like the confidence I have now, knowing that God gave me that confidence, I feel like I could do anything. Like you want to go to space next week? Let's go. You want to like start a cooking channel on like, I literally feel like I could do anything. And that is me humbly saying it's only from God. And it's taken a lot of pain and hardship and maybe an identity crisis to like fully pull that out of me. Like, man, no, God loves you and you should love yourself. And the way that I love other people is always an outpouring of what I feel about myself, but leading up to who does God say that I am.
Yeah.
And that is truly like, you have to know that yourself. Like people can tell you all day, good job at this, you're great at that, like your parents, your spouse, like your friends, but you have to really know that in your heart. And that has taken a lot. Maybe I didn't know that when I was 21 or when I started Melody of Hope 26. Like I didn't know that maybe. And so just really being able to say, I love myself because of this is how God made me. And I'm a moron most days, but God has redeemed. I mean, God is just amazing. And like, I don't know how people do life without Jesus, because with Jesus, it is extremely hard.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, just if you don't have a faith walk, it's never too late. Your story has like redeeming qualities, and that's because of God.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me and Charlie today. I hope you're leaving with the reminder that your passion isn't random. It's leading you somewhere. If today's episode moved you, share it with someone who needs a little hope. And don't forget, your story, your gifts, your voice, they matter.